Do you think we should have an actual podcast to where they can't see us? Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's why we're not getting any views, because they can actually see us.
No, I don't think that's it. They need to see you.
Really?
That's
I mean,
what's
podcasts are
that's
supposed to be non-visual
I know, but people
entertainment.
love to see. Human nature, we're very visual. And so I just think that, you know, as far as a podcast go, you see the most popular ones, they have a YouTube channel. They're
Because they're recording it at the same time.
because now people get to see them interacting and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot different when you can see it. Now, the podcast works for those who are like on the road or they're traveling or whatever, and they're just listening to it. That's where the podcast listening version really comes in. But
Well, it's a story. You know, if I listen to a podcast, and there is no visual backup, they're telling stories.
yeah,
I mean, they are. So, you know, it's almost like listening to an audio book,
right.
you know, where the story itself will give you the visualization of what you're listening to. I mean, that's what a book's supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
That's a good author,
yeah.
right? That they're supposed
But
to.
then that's why they came out with movies, because those who can't really, like, they don't like to. I'm one of those people that I hated reading, and the reason being is because, well, you know, I'm a writer myself, so it's funny when I'm writing, I could visualize and I could create that way. But reading a book, I could visualize, but I'd much rather just see the movie. It's just a lazy way of doing it, and I think that's how.
You told me, you know, when I read one of your screenplays, that in a movie, don't over verbalize things, right? Cut dialogue.
Oh yeah,
and have more visual for the person watching. And obviously you got to have dialogue. You can't just have people walking around going.
Well, that's the one thing that I notice about books. You know, when you're writing a book, because I'm actually taking one of my old screenplays and writing a book off of it. And so I'm kind of doing the reverse. And I'm finding that is so difficult to write the book aspect of it because you're just so detail oriented, you know, and you know, you're describing things, and you know, where you don't do that in a script. The script, you kind of give the generalization for the director of photography and what have you, so they could do their shot list and stuff like that. But you're not as visual. It's up to the director to kind of bring that to life.
But I mean, you know, cinematographer, you know, obviously a strong director has a good idea on the visual of what they're trying to achieve. But the director's job is to make sure that he gets the best out of the actors. He helps them with the story and how they interpret it, right? Because a director has an interpretation.
It goes even beyond that, though. It's not just about the actors. It's directing. It's you know, it's.
I mean, you're obviously blocking.
This is your baby, right? So this is your vision. You're bringing it all together. You're taking what the writer put on paper and you're bringing it to life. So as a director, it's not just the actors. I mean, obviously the actors have to be a certain way to fit what you visualize, but
the cinematographer is just.
Scene. Well,
I call him. You know, I mean, it's a big name for camera guy, right?
Yeah, but there's a reason why they're called director of photography now, because the bottom line is, like, you know, working hand in hand with the director. A director of photography almost essentially is very much like a director, because they're setting that scene.
Yeah.
They can visualize taking what you have described as a director. They take, you know, you may say, hey, I want to capture this, this, and this. So the director of photography knows exactly, okay, we need to bring this light here to get the feeling of what you're looking for, et cetera.
So it's a good collaboration. I mean, it's
it
in
has to
essence.
be.
In essence, they're as much a director as much a cinematographer to a certain degree.
Absolutely.
Right?
Actually, I don't even think they use the term cinematographer
I don't. Yeah, that's
anymore, because
the old school. You director of photography.
But I think that's probably why they use the term director of photography, because there's actually just a lot more involved. When I produced the Blue Rose, it's
They really don't use cinematographer anymore. They don't.
I don't think they use
credits.
I don't think they
'Cause
use.
it comes
it says
doesn't say.
it says director of photography.
Oh, okay.
And then they'll say cameraman and whatever else,
okay.
But it's funny, like your director of photography typically is the camera guy.
Is the camera guy?
Or-
I mean,
or
obviously,
woman.
if it's a big production, you've got multiple camera people, and maybe that
Yeah.
the director of photography is standing behind the camera guy.
You'll have a director of photography, and then you'll have like 5 people that are supporting him, right?
Of course,
You
that's
know,
called a bigger budget film,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
right?
But like when
Ours will be low budget.
So when I produced
With a
the
big
Blue
heart.
Rose, I wore a lot of hats for that film, right? I was not only the writer and director, but I was also in it. And I produced it on top of that. So
That's
I was
gotta-
wearing a lot of hats that I didn't deserve to really wear. I shouldn't have worn, at that time because it was my first film. But
You ever thought about
That's-
redoing that, or would that just be pointless?
I would totally redo it again. There's a lot of things that I would do different, and it's funny because like in hindsight, I saw what was produced, and it's funny because I have a client of mine, and it had come up, and he goes, "You're in the film business?" And I was like, "Well, I produced a film," and it was back in 2004, and it was kind of neat because it was like Video Depot, Blockbuster, Hollywood
Yeah.
Video, all of those video places. It was at the basically at every retail.
Nothing wrong
store.
with straight to video back then when you could get 1 million copies out there potentially.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and that's where we were. We went straight to DVD. We had a domestic distribution deal in place with the international to follow. And so when it got released, it was in 2007. So we produced it in 2004. It took that long to actually
Wow.
find a distributor for it. But
And then we know what happened in 2007, 2008.
So in 2007, is around mid 2007 is when we got our distribution deal. But it was pretty cool because you go to all these places and you see your film out there. And so it was pretty cool. The actors got to, hey, I'm on the shelves of, whatever store.
Hey, no,
and it was
again,
even on
it's-
Amazon when Amazon was first getting started on the.
Is it still out in the
No, I think
Stratosphere,
you could
or what do
kind
they
of find
call
it
it?
out there somewhere, but
you
it
can
might
find
be.
anything out there.
Yeah, I think if you search on
my
Amazon,
fear.
you might be able to find it, but it's one of those maybe bootleg copies or whatever. But so anyway, this client of mine, he was asking about it and stuff, and I gave him the whole background. And the way it turned out, it wasn't intended to be this way, but it turned out to be a very Lifetime-like movie. Like Hallmark or whatever you call it. And that's not what it was supposed to be. The vision that I had for it was it could have been mainstream, somebody who kind of just uses drugs on a recreational basis. It was speed is what I was.
Well, I got
focused
a
on.
question for you. Do you pull that baby out like once a month and fire up some popcorn and some hot toddies and watch it?
I've watched it here and there. No, I don't watch it a lot. I think whenever I have a conversation with somebody about it, I'll kind of go back and
I
look.
need to see it now. I've never seen it.
I'll send you the link.
Send me a
I'll
link.
send you the link to it. But,
Speaking of watching things, please watch this a little more than you do.
yeah, share.
We're doing
share
it-
this.
We're doing our best.
Share this podcast and subscribe. If you're listening to this, definitely subscribe and spread the word. We could really get the word get the word out there.
The ARK Show is supposed to be just, and of course, I feel like we're missing somebody right now.
Well, we are missing something. Without Rush here, we are just the ARK Show.
The axe.
ARK. Just AK.
For years, I mean, to me, that's what makes any form of entertainment viable is the interaction of the people that you're watching. Content's important, what the subject is and different things. And I know we've got something that we were talking about and we'll get to it in a moment, but that's how people engage. I mean, Josh and I have our little shtick going and you and I is a different kind of chemistry, if you will.
It's not a shtick.
There's no shtick. It's what you guys want to get from this show. And I've watched a lot, and we're in the sort of creatives and actors ourselves. And it to me, it's not acting because we're being Joe and Gregg. Yes, Josh, Bunny. Okay, I'll give that one to you. So it's a little different than a character or whatnot. But when you see characters, and I've watched a number of podcasts, you almost ask the question, is this how they really are? Because they really are being a character. Using
absolutely.
Their other persona, if you will, maybe.
Well, I think that's the whole thing. So that's the nice thing about social media in general. Is you have a lot. When I was in my late teens, early 20s, when I first started going out, I was going to be a big movie star. I wanted to, I was breaking into acting and this and that and the other. And, but you were sending out headshots and you were hoping that you got the audition. And, there was so much involved and it was expensive. I mean, you pay the photographer, $400 or whatever for a couple shots. And then you get those shots and then you go get them printed. And that's another like $200-300. And when you're in your late teens and early 20s, as a starving artist, that all adds up. And then plus, you have your gas money because you're going out to these auditions, or, if you're trying to get an agent, then you're, driving down to try to get, or for these interviews and stuff to try to land yourself an agent. And then, on top of that, trying to sift through, and this was back then, trying to sift through who all the scams were and, stuff like that, because there was a lot of those.
I ran into a few of those.
The Cassie couch, or whatever you want to call it.
It's sort of what led me to go to the radio school, because it was, and again, I when you'd walk into an agency or whatever, and they, you're too short or you're not the right type. You don't even know me. What do here's, oh, okay, that's nice. I mean, whereas you think it's harder today. It certainly's got to be more expensive. And even though it was expensive for us to get composites together and all that kind of stuff and a resume, my resume was stage productions, a few extra things, but it's like, oh, this is not gonna work. This is not, even though I got a degree in that field, it's like now the job really begins. So I know, and whether it was 30 years before us or 30 years down the road today, I think the technology today, if you put your little YouTube channel together or whatever, casting people can see what you're about. They can, it's a quicker calling card, correct?
So that's where it's all at now. So if you're thinking about getting into acting,
maybe that's
what a lot
viewers would be actors.
Yeah, I think
don't
if you're
do what we did.
No. Well,
no, I think it's a combination of old school and new school.
I think you do want to do what we did, in the sense that you have to bust your ass to get out there if you really want anything. It's not going to fall to you in your lap. The nice thing that you have going for you, if you're pursuing an acting career right now, is that you can get by without the expense of what it used to be. Because it used to be, you could spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars just trying to get your face out there in front of all the right people. Well, now, with social media and everything, you're not having to do that. Social media, as you know, doesn't cost you anything. So you put your face out there. You still have to get professional shots done. They want to see professional headshots. But all the submissions that you do now, they're all electronic. So your biggest expense is your photographer. And I think the last thing that you want to do is
find a friend who wants to be a makeup artist.
But don't go on the cheap and use your cell phone. I know that like the new iPhones and whatever else is out there.
Well, you can film movies with those things.
Yeah, but the bottom line is, like, so some people will try to take pictures, their headshots or whatever with these. But the bottom line is, a photographer on the other end is looking at lighting, how to get the right shadows, how to get this and that and the other to bring out the best in you. So don't go on the cheap. Get a professional photographer to take your pictures for you. That's going to be your biggest expense.
It does
your second biggest expense is going to be when you're going out for auditions and all the gas money you're going to be spending on that. So I think, though, that the biggest advantage that anybody has today is that casting directors and talent agents, they're all over the place on social media, you know, and guess what they're doing? They get to know you. I actually had, I don't think I ever shared this with you. I have a granddaughter, and we did lots of videos together, whether it was TikTok or Facebook, Instagram, whatever. But we would put out all these kind of goofy videos that she would talk me into doing. And it was just fun. You know, I enjoyed doing it. And, you know, as an actor, performer or whatever, it was just fun stuff. And, you know, we created some great memories. Well, guess what? I get this call from this lady over at, I think it was Disney. And they were doing this one thing. It was a reality show, but they wanted like father-daughter type of scenarios, you know, and I was her grandfather. And when we had that conversation, she goes, "Oh, but you guys are great. I saw your Instagrams and stuff." And so that tells me that, you know, what you put out there, they're definitely taking notice. I didn't submit for anything. She contacted me.
Yeah.
And at first I thought it was a scam, and then I kind of looked into it, and no, it was a totally legit setup.
That's how people discovered Jennifer. And of course, that's when she was starting to write her book. And yeah, she has a headline. If you know, everybody discovers her headline, and that's what makes people curious. But it was her reenactment and story of the anniversary of being abducted. And I think to this point, it's gotten over 100,000 views. But that's what Dr. Oz's producers saw.
Yeah.
And then that's how she got on Dr. Oz. And so so what you put out there, and everybody's doing the TikTok because it's fun, but I'm sure there's a few people doing TikToks and whatever, so you're showing your acting abilities, showing your creativity, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean,
I think, you know, business,
what you have to do.
I think
can't hide, right?
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Not going to get anywhere if you hide.
I think that a lot of people, I see a lot of realtors because I deal with a lot of realtors,
videos,
and I see a lot of realtors out there that are utilizing TikTok and Instagram to put out some very creative videos. I mean, not just real estate related, but they do some other stuff that's
how they get attention, right? Craig Michaels is a perfect example, but Craig has a background of being you know, he always wanted to be a game show host.
He was in radio.
He was the weather guy. He had his own business, right?
Yeah.
And I give Craig some good credit because he's gotten into the real estate game late, and yet he seems like he's doing pretty good.
He's knocking it
because
out of the
he's
park.
utilizing all his skills that he had he acquired along the way.
Right.
That's why, because most real estate agents, you don't start pushing 60. There's just no way.
No.
But to be successful, so he's using his networking abilities and those kinds of things. So I guess the point there is that, because I get told this, is that because supposedly I have all these networking being a salesman, is that I can become a real estate agent at 63, or it's like, you know, or even, revitalize an acting career that never really started. So I don't even know if revitalize is the right word. That's why, the producer hat, makes more sense for us. So,
but you know what?
But being in front of the camera there's some fun in that. I mean, I will admit that.
But see, that's the advantage of, being a producer is, hey, man, you got to make sure you write a part in there for me.
Yeah, well, no, that's just to save money.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
We got to fill this role here, and since you're one of the producers, we're not paying you.
Yeah.
Will you do this? Okay, yeah, sure. And
like
because it is fun being, I mean, the overall idea of even doing this podcast, trying to create production value, trying to create some entertainment value, so you tell people and they tell people, and and certainly we want to give advice, right? If you are looking at this show to feel like there's something there for you beyond just being entertained, that there is some subject, and I know we wanted to get into, why a Kanye West, becomes, yay. And of course, I certainly, and I don't know what he said to get himself into trouble and why sponsors are now dropping him. I mean, there's a fine line. I mean, he's controversial, and and as is an Elon Musk, as is a former president, and to a certain degree, I always feel like they're doing that because if you're going to be successful in business or whatever, you have to be noticed, right? And
Well,
Madonna, Prince with the sign,
Prince, so the whole Prince
I don't even know
thing,
why he did that, and I know he's not with us any longer.
I think
but
that had to do with his record label at the time. You
Yeah.
know, they were
a symbol.
they felt like they owned him, or he
Oh, okay. that
he
makes
was.
sense.
He basically said, "You guys feel like you own me or whatever." And
So I'm gonna
he
unown.
protested.
You're gonna unown
Yeah.
me because I'm changing.
You're not
going
going to call me Prince, formerly known as Prince.
By the way, I still think I make a slight little change, I will become famous. You're going to see my name in flashing red lights around the country.
Flashing red lights.
Flashing red lights because I'm going to change my name to Don't Walk.
Don't walk. Oh.
Now I stole that joke from way back when, but I don't know what he says it's because there's a biblical aspect to yay, when you read the Bible. But Kanye, I thought that was ye, right? Ye go forth.
That's what I thought it was.
But
it's
yay, because it's Kanye, but now it's yay. But I think, from my observation, and again, was never really a Kanye fan. I'm not really into that music. He's a businessman, and when you become a billionaire,
you say that like a totally like older guy.
Because I am, but he's getting kicked to the curb because he may have taken it too far, right, for attention.
Well, that's
and you certainly. This is where making fun of race and stuff is. You got to be careful.
So that's the whole thing, though. Some of these guys will do.
And I'm Jewish,
say
so I'm
different
like,
things.
we're made fun of all the time, and I actually
But
make fun of myself.
You remember like the greatest comedians. You have your
Shecky Green.
But look at Richard Pryor, one of the absolute best, right, and paved the way for a lot of black comedians out there and what have you. But the thing
he made
is,
fun of his own race.
now he's made fun of lots of different races.
Which Don Rickles.
I mean, that whole thing on SNL was.
By the way, Josh
still
is a
one
hockey
of my
puck. And I say that because I know he likes hockey and he's not here. So
Speaking of which,
he's a hockey puck.
You're pretty quiet over there, Josh. What's?
Oh, he is here.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wait.
Now he's gone.
No,
again.
yeah, he's not here. He just,
But
another one that changed their name is Sean Puffy Combs. Remember Puff Daddy or
Puff
Diddy?
Daddy. So it's Puff. Is it Puff Diddy or Puff?
It was P Diddy.
P Diddy was the short.
And then Diddy.
Diddy.
And then it was his real name is Sean Combs, I guess. Then he went by Puffy, Sean Puffy Combs.
Diddy.
Then Puff Daddy, and then P Diddy. And I don't even know what he is now, actually.
Once again, I mean, is there anybody in our musical genre that's one name? I mean, other than like a Madonna, a Prince.
I was kind of looking up and Meatloaf.
Meatloaf.
I was trying to find and
Now you talk about an odd bird.
oh, Meatloaf, Michael Lee Aday.
Yeah,
that was his name, and he goes by Meatloaf.
Does it say why he had changed? I know he recently passed
I didn't really
away.
look into the whys.
Yeah.
I think that everybody has their reasons, right? They all choose it. 50 Cent,
No,
Curtis.
it's 50 Cent.
50 Cent.
50 Cent.
But Curtis Jackson, the
Yeah.
third,
Yeah.
and
What's Drake's real name?
I do have that actually.
And I asked that because my stepdaughter is a festival artist. I made the mistake of I emceed an event the other day, a Halloween costume contest, and there were the DJs up there. Oh no, I'm not a DJ. I'm an artist. I'm like, okay,
That's what they're calling
well,
themselves now.
they're well, because I'm working right. They're
Yeah.
DJs,
Yeah.
and even the DJs here that have mobile gigs, they're mobile DJ.
Yeah.
Okay, meaning you took your DJ abilities on the road.
Yeah.
Mobile, but no, they're artists, and so and Geo, her name is Geo Star, and God, how much time has gone by? I haven't even mentioned Jennifer. Josh isn't here, or now he.
Josh is a little bit quiet over
No,
there.
it's like so yeah, these artists were on stage, and there was this one artist DJ, ARP, ARP. Yeah.
Wow. ARP.
ARP. So I said, and then she was Anya, Anya, and I thought, wait a second, that is, but, so then I thought, I could do this, but what would be my stage name? But I'm over 55. ARP, right? So just add another A, and that would be my DJ name. No, AARP.
You could be G10.
AARP. That would be perfect.
AARP. I don't know that I would want that.
Seniors
as
would
a
go,
nickname.
that's our guy. That's our guy. That's our DJ. Artist, not DJ.
AARP, he represents.
Yeah. I'll be at the old folks home next Saturday doing my my routine.
Did you know Bruno Mars his real name is Peter Gene Hernandez?
No. I like Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars is a cool name. Pink.
Right.
Pink is Alicia Beth Moore.
Okay.
I love Pink.
So these are, again,
Pink's a great artist.
These are stage names.
Yeah, those are stage names.
I mean, that's where the term stage name comes from, you know. Even on the radio.
I don't think these
I
artists
used a stage name.
I don't think these artists consider them stage names.
No,
because
no.
actually when I was doing some research on
Kanye did it legally. He changed it legally.
Yeah. And I think a lot of these guys have. You know, The Weeknd. His real name is Abel Tesfaye.
That one I don't understand.
He said, I hated my name at the time, so he tried it as a stage name. It sounded cool, so he took out the E because there was already a Canadian band name, The Weeknd.
Yeah.
With the E, so he took it out. So it did start off as a stage name, but he made it his legal name.
Legal name.
Yeah. So I think that's what.
It's when I
some
talked
people
about,
end up
I
doing.
talked about Craig Michaels earlier. That's actually his stage name. I'm sorry, Craig, if I'm giving it up here. I won't say what your real name is.
I think I knew what his because he was in radio when I first met him, and he was in a.
Now you need to advertise your real estate company on the ARK Show.
Actually, know what's interesting is
you know each other because you need to the title escrow guy here. Now that we're plugging you, Craig.
Yeah.
See, now you can hashtag.
Craig,
you can hashtag. You taught me this the other day. I'm like, how do people discover this? You go, well, you got a hashtag. You got to connect the dots, right? Marketing. So, yeah, but I mean, you don't know. So use keywords, right? And the more keywords you use, that's how people discover your shtick.
Before somebody used the word hashtag, was it like, the pound sign?
Yeah, it was pound. I still, hit the pound sign. When you're trying to get into that gate and into the gated community.
Yep.
Do I hit the pound sign or the star sign?
I think it's usually the pound.
Wow. How about the I know we haven't, we're talking about stage names or single names and the why that is. But I have to say Elon Musk should come up with, or do you think, he's powerful with still using his real name?
Do you think that's his real name?
That's good.
I don't think it is.
Because you think about it. Well, Elon.
No, I think Elon might be, but I don't know about Musk. No. I think he was a big fan.
Musk was a
Musk for men.
Was a crappy men's cologne, yeah. Musk, as I recall. Right?
So maybe he bought Musk and they decided just to take the name.
But he's just he
we'll have to look into that.
He is an odd bird, but as we were saying earlier, is that you need to get attention.
Was that a jab at his ownership of Twitter now?
Hey,
He is an odd bird.
I didn't even try to do that. But I love the banter that he's now having with, people that maybe see eye to eye with him politically, which, again, he's no ideologue. He just rolls with whatever
here's
makes sense to him, right? So he's not right or left.
But see, that's the whole thing. You should be able to just have a conversation with somebody. Like, it shouldn't even matter, like, if you're left, right, if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever.
The
you
blue
should be
check
able to.
mark. I didn't even know that about Twitter, that if you're somebody, that's how you get the little blue check mark, right? And the thing is now, to have that blue check mark, you got to pay $8 a month to have a Twitter account. If you want the blue check mark, well, nobody knows. I'm not even on Twitter, but not that I can't afford $8 a month, but because it verifies who you are. So AOC's like, billionaires going to charge us. I always said, let's see who really wants these social media platforms, and by charging people like Facebook. Would you pay $1 a month to have a Facebook account?
I don't think I would pay
$1.
I don't think I would pay anything for any social media account. And so, on that, I did read this article.
I use it to prospect when I see people, businesses advertising.
Yeah,
Right. So it's a prospecting
absolutely.
tool for me.
But
There you go. I admit it.
But Elon Musk, his people did kind of announce that they may be exploring charging to be on the Twitter platform.
Yeah, I was just saying. Yeah, if there be
the verified part, but I mean,
but
just in
it
general,
still will be free.
I don't think so.
Nah, I heard that if you don't want to be verified, because you can just like you see it that look it's Madonna. No, it's not really Madonna.
Yeah.
Right. It's a fake account, or it's somebody who's no picture, and they're saying they're an athlete.
Well, you have.
I was like, yeah, okay, sure, you are.
You have fan clubs out there that will create, like, let's say, they'll use Madonna, but there'll be like an underscore, like something.
Yeah.
And come to find out that they're just it's a fan club or whatever, and you will really notice this when they're posting pictures and this, that, and the other, and they're trying to come off as like that artist or whatever.
Yeah.
And then some of the stuff they're posting is like, this ain't you.
Well, like Shania Twain is. I mean, she's promoted, but of course you could say Shania, and you don't need to say Twain. But she's talking to me on Facebook. It was like, it's really Shania Twain. Because
you
when
got
you're,
turned on by that.
when
didn't
you're an
you?
average, well, I've always, I'm not a big country guy, but
It is Shania.
It is Shania.
Yeah,
and
I hear
again,
you.
you don't need to say Twain either. You say Shania. So, but she's never done that. She's never said Shania. Maybe in the marketing, but she probably, I mean, if somebody, you're Joe.
Just your average Joe.
Your average
not
Joe.
your average Joe.
There's your new name.
I'm not the average Joe.
Not the average Joe.
I am.
It's just like the other
I'll be Joe Cool.
Joe Cool. No, that's used. It's just like Halloween. I had a Care Bear, kind of because I was lazy.
Of course you did.
It was a lazy Halloween costume thing for me. It was the only thing I can grab, and it was we created a candy cart driving around Yucca Valley, actually driving up to the kids we met, giving them candy.
You're the one that everybody warned people about.
Yeah, I know. There's that guy in the Care Bear. I says, no. If I go, you're a Care Bear? I says, no, I'm the I don't care.
Care Bear's got some candy for you, young man.
I even said I needed to put that. I don't care, right? I don't care, Care Bear. We even hit Pappy and Harriet.
There's like so many stories.
And they were
that
like,
go with
yeah,
that.
no, you're a Care Bear. I said, no, I don't really care. It's just, I got
I could just tell that, there had to be some parents that are like, do you have a restraining order
Well,
against you?
we had the dogs with us, and Jennifer was there, and then Gio was there too. So it wasn't just Greg driving around handing candy out. Yeah, that's not a good look.
Come here, little
Be
boy.
like,
Hey, little kid. How old are you?
come here. Yeah, no, it's which is funny. I don't see a lot of kids in Yucca Valley. But Halloween night, was a certain area near the church and whatever. And
I think
they were out in droves. It was like, wow, there are a lot of kids here.
Yeah, I think Halloween has definitely changed. I
love Halloween.
Our old street. Well, I still live there.
Yeah,
but
I dolled up my old house there a few times. Did you come by? I don't remember when I put the black tarp up and made a headless dummy sitting in a chair.
I
Put my head in the dummy's lap so kids would walk up. And blood coming. I was like, they'd get real close, and I'd go, "Hey, what do you want?" And they'd be like, "You never saw kids run so fast."
I bet. So we have this neighbor across the street that does their house up really good, and they had circus music playing.
Yeah.
And you walk through, and so my wife and I were just sitting out in the front part handing out candy, but we're watching these kids, even like teenagers. They come up. Fuck, man, let's go up to this one, man. Badass, man. Blah, blah, blah. These guys couldn't scream loud enough. Yeah, they were screaming on their way out of there.
When I did Frankenstein, I'd be standing there, and you know how they have the big Halloween, sort of, statues and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
So I had the Frankenstein. So occasionally I would stand in the front and just stand there like this and as still as I could be, and they would walk up and like They weren't sure if it was like
Yeah.
a statue real, and I would just, as soon as they get close, I just take one step and,
That's how these guys were. They,
teenager,
were-
the young kids, the little babies, I was always careful, not I didn't want to scare, but sometimes the 6, 7, 8-year-old would like,
yeah.
but like, oh yeah, you're funny. But a lot of the teenagers, acting tough.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a tough guy, and hey, and they would just,
Yeah. What's that big brown spot behind your pants right now?
yeah. I mean, we all get that's, I mean, I've been in a few Halloween houses where I knew their goal was to scare the shit out of me, and
Well, it's funny.
some were successful.
It's just funny because the neighbors across the street, they're kind of quiet anyway. They keep to themselves, but they were dressed up as clowns, and I'm just like not just Ronald McDonald clowns. These were like freaky clowns, and I love horror films. I love watching stuff like that. My wife gets freaked out by them, but I was just getting a kick out of all these kids. I thought they were so badass, going up there and they're, talking all their stuff and everything. They walk through, and so I guess there was one of the brothers, would be off to the side or whatever, and they kind of figured he's just there. And then there's another one that's kind of like where the candy was and stuff, so they knew they had kind of walked past this guy, and they go over here, but this guy right here would just like bam, and it would freak them out. But then they go up and they get their candy, they think that's the big thing or whatever. But the mom was actually, I think, the one giving out the candy, and there was another clown, and that's the one that would come out and freak them out. And I'm just like, man, you guys are brilliant. But it's just like you got to kind of wonder. There was a
Was
movie.
it busy? Was the street busy this year?
No,
Yeah.
we
All
always
the kids are,
they're all grown and
all
everything.
our kids are grown,
Yeah.
so they're,
But I think a lot of it has to do with how many kids live on a particular street, because then you get all the friends and people like that come over. So we bought a big bag of candy, and we probably gave away half of it.
yeah.
And we used to get the big bags from Costco,
Oh,
and give
hell
out 3 of
yeah.
those easily. Not anymore.
Well, again, that was part, because usually if you were, as an adult, the Halloween party would be, 2-3 days before Halloween.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like this year, the parties were mostly Saturday the 29th.
Yeah.
But we, it was sort of fun driving around, and then just, but as usual, this is, because you only have so much candy. Don't let the kids put their hand in the bag to grab the candy, because
Yeah, especially if you have
if you want it to last more than 2 minutes.
especially if you have the bag in your lap. Probably not a
Well,
good idea.
that'll get
That'll get you arrested.
that would be not the thing to do. So yeah, I mean, it's Halloween, I think is a holiday that really isn't a holiday. It's just an excuse to just
I used to
for adults to act like kids.
Yeah.
Right? Because there is that
I think that's a
transition
good way of
of,
putting it.
I mean, kids love candy. Adults love candy. Who doesn't, right? The teenage thing, that's that transition of, this
Right.
is, they're not old enough to go party yet, right? Like
Yeah.
us adults, and they're really too old to go trick or treating.
Well, they don't really like dress up.
They're usually, well, if they
Yeah.
got little brothers and sisters, that's what their
Yeah.
role becomes. Is like now they're overseeing little
Well, yeah.
brother and sister.
But they're dressed normal. They don't.
Yeah, and they're still holding the bag.
Yeah.
Give me the candy. No,
That's not a bag. It's a freaking pillowcase.
The pillowcase. That's right. The pillowcase. They couldn't even go buy a little bucket. They're using
No.
a pillowcase.
So
Funny. I'd like to meet the kid who actually gets his whole pillowcase filled up.
I remember those
That's a-
days, man. I
that's a
remember
long
I
night.
used to. Yeah. Oh yeah.
All I got was his rock, Charlie Brown. So
Well, all right. Well, that wraps it up for this edition of
Yeah.
the ARK Show.
I
Sorry, Josh is being really quiet today, and guy
don't
just-
get put
guy-
down as much. When
Guy
Josh
just
is-
can't shut the fuck up over here, man. Gosh damn.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning
Yeah.
in.
Thanks for tuning
we
in. Don't
appreciate
forget
it.
to hit the subscribe button. Please share this, like it, and definitely check out our podcast. If you're watching this, check out our podcast.
Once we get our movies going, we'll keep you up to date on that.
We're going to definitely keep you updated. We're moving right along on that, actually, and you're going to see some good stuff coming along from Dancing Palms Entertainment.
Yep.
And so anyway, we'll see you next time. Bye for now.